What's up, Inkie peeps? It's Del from Inkie Quill, and I've got a Let's Get Embellishy video for you today. This month we're not making embellishment clusters like we did in July. We are making Project Life filler cards. Now, just because I'm calling these Project Life filler cards doesn't mean that you can't change the size of these to be card making cards, or for things in your journals as well, or even just elements to use on your scrapbook pages. So have a think about the shapes and things that you'd like to use. I'm using them as 3x4 filler cards, and I'm just going through the Chasing Dreams paper pad there, and you can see I've cut a big bundle of papers. So I've sized them all up, and I've grabbed some different stamps and bits and bobs from my stash. So to save us a bit of time, off camera I have stamped some images. So these floral ones are from a stamp set that I got from the Reject Shop here in Australia. And there's on the right there's ones that look like a little journaling spot. They're from a very old Scraptastic one which isn't available anymore, but I'm sure in the depths, darkest part of your stamp collection you've got some forgotten stamps that you might be able to use. So I'm just going through all of the cards, and I'm trying to make them quite generic, and I'm pretty predictable with my color schemes, so it was good that this paper pad was all similar colors, so I didn't have to stray too far. And basically it's just a matter of just sticking bits and bobs together. So this one I used an old wood veneer, I'm not sure where it's from, sorry, it says #squad, and I thought I'll save this up till I have a picture with some friends, which isn't very often because they've all moved away. Not because of us, I hope. No, it's all because of work, because a couple of them work in the mines, which are away from us, and then a couple of others work in Sydney. So not all of our friends live close by anymore, which is sad, but when we see them, I always make sure, as the unofficial group photographer, I'm that annoying friend that says, "Can we take a picture now?" of everyone. They know it's coming. They should be aware. I also grabbed some doilies from my stash. So these little ones are from Doodlebug Designs. I bought them ages ago. Not sure if they're still available, but they're just something in my stash that I wanted to use up. So this is a great activity to do on the couch or over a few nights. If you know you've got short little spurts of scrapping time, you can get some stuff done. The frame on this one is actually from one of the 6x6 pieces in that paper pad. I just cut it apart, and the floral is from an ephemera pack, a crepe paper one. I think it might have actually been the Chasing Dreams one that I just had lying around, a few bits and bobs waiting to use up. So I try to, when I create these filler cards, there's a few different things that I do. I try to do some sort of flat embellishment piece. So for this one it's the frame and the tiny word sticker are quite flat. I also try to layer some pieces, so you can see the doilies layered behind there, and I also try to do something a bit textury, something a bit, gives it a bit of 3D, or I either put something up on craft foam or add something like an enamel dot or those glitter hearts. They just give a little bit of texture. So they're the three things that I suggest when you're making your own filler cards, to go for something flat, something layered, and then something textury or gives it a bit of 3D. So for this one, I grabbed my heart punch and I punched out a heart using some of the offcuts, because when you have a 6x6 piece of paper, if you cut 2 3x4s, you're left with this awkward little strip. So I often use that strip to punch out other shapes, and I leave them on my desk, and they do eventually get used. I'm always able to squeeze them in. I'm doing lots of Heidi Shine dancing in this one. Oh, now, if you are a true inklet that watches all of my YouTube videos, you will know that freaking little wooden circle there has been in so many Grab 5 videos, it's not funny. I think it's been in about 4, possibly even 5 Grab 5 videos, and I finally used the last one. Whoop whoop. I'm so excited because it was hanging around in my stash like a bad smell. So if you want to, set yourself a little challenge and grab a sticker sheet or something that's half used that you just want to get out of there and use it to make these little filler cards. Now, if you don't do Project Life, that's fine. You can use this same kind of concept to just create some little squares for your scrapbooking as embellishments, or if you're a card maker, you could make them a little bit bigger and make them as card bases. And it's basically just slapping stuff together. So at the end, I will have individual photos so you'll be able to see them better, and I might actually put those photos in the blog post as well, just so that you can have a look and see, because I did have to speed this up quite a lot. It did take me, I think it took me 1 hour and 20 minutes to do all of these, and we didn't want to sit through all of that. I had a lot of stopping and starting this day. Archie was teething badly and he kept napping, but only for 20-minute spurts, so I did have to stop and start it quite a few times. But usually with scrapbooking, I can't stop a project and come back to it. It just, once it's done, once I walk away, 90% of the time I can't come back to it, and I usually scrap it or will avoid doing whatever I have to do to walk away and get it done. So for this, I actually found it easier to walk away because they're smaller little cards. I was able to finish them a lot quicker and feel like I achieved something, and then I could walk away and do something for a while and then come back. I think I actually did this over 2 days, I do believe. Added a bit of doodly border and there it is. So the cards I made, I tried to make them all quite generic, like, you know, beautiful, lovely, sweet, because I do always have reasons to put those cards in, and they're the words that I kind of see myself stretching for the most when I'm putting tiny word stickers and things on. So if you would like me to film some process videos using some of these Project Life filler cards, let me know in the comments below and give this video a little love heart likey thingy, and I will try and make one of those and either squeeze it in the end of this month or maybe the first video for next month. I'll try and squeeze it in one of those. This is also a great idea, how to use those giant pieces of ephemera we seem to be getting in ephemera packs at the moment, and they're driving me nuts because I don't have a need for these giant blocks of, they're just very specific giant pieces of ephemera, like giant tickets or giant camera diagrams and things that aren't very, like if it was a giant love heart, I could probably make it work, but I am struggling. So in the back there, I did manage to use kind of 2/3 of one of those frames that was included in a previous crepe paper collection. I'm also trying to use up some chipboard pieces here, which is fun. And of course the doodly border comes out. So I did, by the end of it, I did get a bit sick of these, just because I was missing photos again. So I would recommend, don't aim too big with your pile of papers. Maybe start with like 10. Maybe start with 10 and see what you come up with. Shake, 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 shake your hearty shine. Shake your hearty shine. Had to sing it there. I know I'd shaken it a few times earlier and I hadn't sung it. And that little one's done. So I did that for May because I haven't scrapped May yet, and I know that that will be coming up soon once I eventually get more ink. It is so difficult to get Canon selfie ink. I used to get it from Target here and they don't stock it anymore. There is no store that I know of on the Central Coast that stocks Canon selfie ink, which is ridiculous. So I just bought some online, but it says it's for a different, one website said it's for the model I have, which is the CP10, and the other website said that this paper pack is for the CP1200, but I'm sure I've used that pack before for my one, so I'm just hoping for the best, and I've bought 4 packets of it, so hopefully I can get to printing again soon, because currently I'm out of photos to print. Archie at the moment is at my parents' house, so I'm having an Archie free work day, but for the next 2 days, hopefully they'll arrive, the papers will arrive soon, but the next 2 days I might spend sorting photos to print, because that's one of my most hated things about scrapbooking, as I have mentioned many, many times. Here I decided, I just stamped these on some spare white cardstock. It's not the Basil Marshmallow, it's just, cheap white printer cardstock, and I decided I want to add a bit of colour to this flower. Why? Who knows? I think it's because I used a dark blue enamel dot, and so I just grabbed my water brush and my Winsor & Newton watercolours, and I just splodged on a bit of colour first. Oh, sorry, splodged on a bit of water first and then added a bit of colour, and I'm just kind of layering the watercolour a bit. This one probably isn't my favourite card in the whole lot. I don't know why I went with blue. Who knows what I was thinking that day, but it's done and I'll be able to use it for something. It'll probably work well with a picture of Archie, actually, because of the blueness. So I do try to add a few things to try and save it a little bit, but it's done. Add some Heidi Shine, why not? Just when in doubt, add some Heidi Shine. And there we go, this one's done. On to the next. Now, what I did when I was picking the papers for this, I didn't use papers that had a cut apart element to them. In the crepe paper packs, I often find there's a lot of like cut aparts or pages. That in this one there was a sheet that had all beautiful vintage looking books, and there was a page that had all little frames you could cut apart, and it's a bit too busy. So I tried to pick background papers that were quite simple and even monochromatic, like this one's all different blues. It just makes it a lot easier to put stuff on top. And I really recommend, if you're making these with scraps, limit your color palette. It's going to be a lot easier if you're only working with a few colors to coordinate the bits and pieces, because if you're trying to make them from colors in every part of the rainbow, it's going to be a lot trickier to make stuff go together. Adding a bit of High Shine, and I do something, these wood veneer pieces are from, I think they're from the Cocoa Vanilla Wild at Heart wood veneer set, and I do something with them later and I'm freaking in love with it. So this was a technique that I've done before, but I was reminded of it by two beautiful girls that I met at the retreat I did, Nicole and Melissa. They were doing this technique and I just had to have a give it a go. So stay tuned for that one. It's coming up. This one, I knew I had some photos to do in April. So far I've only scrapped the first half of the first week of April, which is about 3 days worth. I'm still working along there. If you'd like me to do, I pretty much am just plonking things anywhere and trying. I always try to go for the triangle when I put stuff down, or I do something really heavy in one corner and diagonal to it I do something light up in the top. I try to do my heavy corner down the bottom and then a little sprinkling up the top, which I think I might do on this one. If you'd like me to do, let me know what videos you'd like to see, guys. I am going to do one eventually on layering and a bit more in depth as to why I do the papers the way I do. A lot of the time I just stick and plonk, so I'm going to try and work out how I stick and plonk so I can show you how I stick and plonk. So you can see here, I've put that heart almost in the center, but slightly over, and then I'm doing my big heavy bit on the right hand side there, and then a little sprinkling of those tiny word stickers on the left, and I'm keeping it to those few colors so they're all in the same family. They're just kind of variations. So there's a mint, a turquoise, and a blue with some, I use gold as a neutral, really. I love this paper so much, and I have a big piece of it and I don't know what to do with it yet. I have to print off some photos of Pops and Frizz and try and make a layout with them, because it's so darling. And I did purposely, if you have paper like this that you're using, that has like not a uniform pattern all over it, have a look at if there's a spot that you particularly like. So I really wanted that girl to be on this page as well as the bunny. So I purposely cut my paper not to the edge, if that makes sense. So I didn't use the bottom corner of the 6x6 paper. I kind of moved it over a bit so that I could not chop the girl in half, because I kind of wanted her to be whole. And then you can see there I was going to stick the tiny word sticker up the top, but it would cover some of her, and so I stuck it down the bottom. This card I kind of just kept sticking stuff on, and then I decided to back away from it. I just kind of took a little break, backed away from it, and sometimes you just need to step back from it and stop for a moment. So if you do get overwhelmed by a card and you're getting frustrated with it, or you don't like it anymore, just pop it to the side, and then you never know, you might get a new wave of inspiration to change it up a little bit. So here what I'm doing is I've got this wood veneer and a very old paint dauber thing where the dauber doesn't work anymore, and I really want to use up that pink paint because it's just sitting in my stash and I never reach for it. So I'm just painting it straight onto the wood veneer, no prep, no nothing. I dried it with my heat gun, and this is layer number 2. I'm not just doing the random peace sign at you. It's layer number 2. And I find that when you do things on wood veneer, it does suck in the paint a lot. So I often do 2 coats of paint just to make sure that it's nice and opaque, because that's the effect that I liked. So I'm just drying it with a heat gun. You could do the same with a hairdryer, or just be patient and wait for it. I'm not, and I wasn't this day. So I decided to add these little flowers down, and the quality of these Reject Shop stamps, as you can tell, the Reject Shop is a bit of a shop for reject products. It's still a cheap shop here in Australia, and it's, a lot of the time the products aren't the best quality, but these stamps are beautiful. They're very nice. Here I'm fighting with my glossy accent. So this is a glue, if you haven't used it before, and it's glossy. So I don't typically use it for actually gluing stuff down, because if it spurts out the side, you will see the glossiness. But you can use it over the top of the wood veneer to create this like enamel looking effect over the top of it. It takes a while to dry. This took a few hours to dry. And it's very important that you don't shove stuff on top of it like I did and then have to fix it up like I did, because what happened is I stuck another card on top of it, didn't I? And I had to scrape off all of the glossy accents because half of it stuck to the other card, and redo this card, but it worked out in the end. So this one is all done, and when it's dry, it's going to look glorious. This next one was a great background piece because it was just a nice kind of painty basic background. And in the ephemera pack for Chasing Dreams, there was a couple of these 3D ribbons. Now, I have issues with ribbons. I just don't know how, I can't make them work. I've seen other people use them, and I try to use them like that, and I just can't make them work. So I thought a filler card would be perfect way to use it, because it makes it the center of attention without, how can I say this? Sometimes when I put it on a scrapbook page, I feel like my eye goes straight towards the ribbon instead of the photo, and I don't like that. So this is good because I'm making it the center of attention on purpose and not accidentally, as I do on a normal scrapbook page. Does that make sense? Let me know, is there a particular shape or type of embellishment that you have trouble with? For a while I had trouble with cork, but I smoothed my relationship out, and we're now good friends. Not best friends, not like me and glitter hearts, but we're amicable. We're good friends. I fight with ribbon and buttons. I can't work with ribbon and buttons. I can't make them work. Other people can, and I just can't. And then these ribbon design, like the cardboard, prize ribbon type things, I can't make them work either. But let me know, am I not alone? Do you have embellishments that you like to fight with? Not like to fight with, but that you turn out to fight with, or maybe some embellishments that you've made new friends with that you didn't like before. Oh, and paper clips. I can't do paper clips. I feel like they're always just floating in thin air. I need to work on my paper clip skills. I really like the colours of this one. That powder blue just goes beautifully with this soft pink in the collection. And I really liked the juxtaposition of the giant flower that's in white and then the little tiny white flowers. So think about your patterns and kind of just think about it, but don't think about it. Don't overthink it. Just kind of plonk stuff together. This one, I decided to try and use these couple of little books from one of the 6x6 papers that I use, like a cut apart sheet. And I put that rabbit one at the front because I thought I could use this for a page of the bunnies and I'd make it work that way. And then some of these florals had really long leaves, and I know that sounds silly, but they were similar florals to all the crepe paper florals are very similar, but these ones had different leaves. Usually I'm used to a short stumpy one, and these were very, I don't know, they threw me off a lot. So this was a good way to have the leaves there but kind of cut them off. I do like to have my embellishments hanging over the edge of my page or cards, whatever I'm doing. I just feel like it kind of makes it look like it blends into the background a bit more rather than just being plonked on there and just looking like it doesn't belong. I hope that makes sense. So that one's all done. This was a really basic one, that one. Next up, do I use the wood veneer yet? This is another one of those awkward little strips that you get after cutting some 3x4s, and I used my notebook punch, which is an older one from Fiskars, I think, just to do a little bit of edging. It's the only edge, I think it's the only edge punch I have. I'd really like to get like a scalloped lace kind of looking one that has a scallopy pattern, but I had a look at my local scrapbooking shop and I couldn't see any there, but I'll keep my eye out for it, because I think we do often forget borders are like border punches and kind of those fancier punches, not just your typical circle, heart, tag, those type of things. They do get forgotten. They're a bit like stamps. They do get pushed to the bottom of our stash. Anyway, I'm talking from personal experience and from talking to my friends, but yeah, I just seemed that thought I'd whip it out and give it a go. It's great for, I really want to use it in my junk journal because it makes it look like you've got junky paper without actually having junky paper. I'm just trying to use up some sticker sheets here, and the thing that I found is that at one point I had, because I think I made this as I was packing to go away, so a lot of my embellishments were just everywhere and I found myself getting a little overwhelmed. So my tip is to just choose a couple of packets. So I think I had a cork packet, those little cork hearts you can see. I had some wood veneers. I don't even think I had actual stickers. I had some puffy stickers, and I think I had those leatherette stickers. So I had four little packs of embellishments. Here I'm doing the exact same thing. So I just grabbed some paint and I painted that little heart, and a normal person would wait for it to dry before doing the glossy accents, but I didn't. And it worked out, but just have a bit more patience than me, guys. So I added the glossy accents, and you can see it's cloudy now, but it does dry completely clear and beautiful and glossy. I'll make sure that I show you that in the photos at the end. Adding some little tiny hearts and little star. A lot of people have asked where I get those little stars and hearts, the teeny tiny ones from, and I got them from eBay. I just typed in tiny heart sticker, tiny star sticker. I ordered some more the other week because I think they're about $4 a pack, but they last quite a long time. So this one is all done. There we go. So next up, I wanted to have some that were kind of a bit more journaly, I guess. This was one of the offcuts from that paper, and I just couldn't let it go to waste. So I snipped it off, and you can see I've still got this little circle there from where the paper pad is usually hung in the shop. And I can't really tell that it's there. I think because the paper's so busy, it's okay. I'm doing that same thing with that light pink paint dauber, and I'm just popping it on there, doing 2 coats, drying it. I hope I dry it off camera, not on camera. Be careful. Wood veneer gets hot when you dry it, so try and hold it with a paintbrush instead of your finger, because it does get quite warm and toasty under there. So I tried to, as you can see, I stuck to my usual colours, and they're my go-to colours, and I feel like if I'm making these embellishments, it's best to go with my go-to colours, and then if I want to experiment with oranges and greens and yellows, even though this is green, it's mint green, I can do mint green, but brighter greens, I think it's best to save those for specific projects, because I find that if I make them for these generic things, I just don't use those pieces. That's what happened with the DIY embellishments I made last month. I have a few green ones that I haven't touched. I'm actually packing them up for a friend, send them off to see if they can use them up a little bit. So I'm just adding that glossy axe down there, and I don't really know what card I'll use this for. Probably a bunny one, because you can still see one of the bunnies there. And that one's almost done. This tiny word sticker pack, because I know someone will ask about it, this little white one here is from Flutter by Designs. I must have made this after the retreat. Yeah, I must have made this after the retreat, because I got that sticker sheet at the retreat. But yeah, it's good. It does have some naughty words on there though, so if you don't like naughty words, don't look at the Flutterby Designs stuff online. But they're quite funny. Adding a little bit of a dashed border using my Staedtler, probably the 0.5 or the 0.2, and it's just a waterproof pen that I'm enjoying at the moment because I haven't broken the nib on it and it's not lost yet. Two qualities that I love in a pen. This one, I wanted to add a really soft, beautiful, like girly one. This one would be really great to use in my wedding album, actually, because I am working my way through. If you've seen, I think by now there should have been 2 layout shares from the retreat that I went to, and there might be one more coming after this. There's 3 altogether. And my wedding album, some of it is pocket pages and some of it is layouts, and I went with these like soft colors because I went with my bridal party, and I think this card would be perfect for in there because I am going to finish my freaking wedding albums. There's 6 of them, and this is the last one that I've got some random pages to finish. I probably am down to 10. I know I said that last time, but there was sneakily more in there than I thought, and I had about 20 to go. So now I've got 10 to go. This, as you'll see, is the little offcut from the note paper that I used before, and I often just, because I'm lazy, let's be honest, my bin is next to my desk, but sometimes it's a bit awkward to get to. So quite often I just kind of move my rubbish to the side, not rubbish, but like paper rubbish. I move my stuff to the side while I'm working and recording a video, and then I come back to it at the end and put it in the bin. And luckily I hadn't, because it made the perfect layering piece. So you can see I've done the diagonal with this one. So in the bottom corner I've got the little heart and enamel dot, and in the top corner I've followed your eye up and I've got the circle embellishment and another little heart up there. I've been talking for a long time. This video, I'm glad I made it half an hour because my voice is going. So I added this one. I felt like it was fading in a little bit. When I feel like stuff's fading in, I always add a little doodly border or a dash line just to bring it up a little bit. Now this one, ironically, the grow had broken and it wasn't growing anymore. Not the wood veneer grows. Adele, that made no sense. Let's just ignore that one. But it was broken. But the good thing about wood veneer is that you can it's very easy to slip back in together and just glue it so that you don't even have to glue the break. You just glue the back of it and make sure that they're lined up where they were before so that it doesn't even look like it was broken. So here I'm using this is Dina Wakely paint, and she's only got a few colors out. I don't know what this color is. She's got about 12 colors out. It's the Moroni looking one, and I'm just adding the paint to my wood veneer. Now this, I may only do 1 coat of this because it is darker. Maybe we'll see. While I was doing this, I remember I was watching The Bachelor. Now I haven't watched The Bachelor before, but there's here in Australia, the next Bachelorette has an Australian actress as the Bachelorette, and she's hilarious. So I want to watch that when it comes on, just to see her. And The Bachelor is on at the moment, and so I thought I'd tune in, and I am hooked. Oh, it's so trashy, it's fantastic. But there's some Mean Girls on there this time, and I'm not a fan of their games. It's not very nice. So I was watching The Bachelor while I was making these. So it's a great activity if you just have some couch time or some girly time away from the family, or if you're going away, it's easy to pack up a little kit and do this in the car, or when you're at a hotel, or even camping. It would be a good little thing to take with you. I think this is the last card that I've got, and then I'll show you up close all of the cards. Now the glossy accent when I did this isn't dry yet, so it may still look a little bit cloudy, but they're all done. How cute do they look? I can't wait to use them. So I think, do I bring the camera up? No. What I do is I grab some of my favorites. I love this one. I think it's the hints of turquoise that really made this one a little bright little pop. What other one do I like? I love the squad one, and I love this one. I think the left one will be really good in a wedding album, and I'll definitely be able to use the squad one. I caught up with my friends last weekend actually, so I might save it for that one. My favorite is probably, I really, for some reason, I know, like the yellow one, and this one that has quite a lot of green. Unexpected. I think it was the way that I used the wood veneer and the glossy accents though that really made me like it. All right guys, I'm going to leave you with some stills of all of them now, and don't forget to give this video a heart if you liked it, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.